In order to help us reach our goal, Dave McDyer donated a Snap-on toolbox for us to sell 30 raffle tickets. Now we will be drawing the winner of this fantastic toolbox. And the winner is number 19, Kendall Helmers. Thanks again, Dave, and all of those who made this next moment possible. We're excited to announce that we have completed the interview process, and the school has hired Mr. Alex Emerson as the second ag teacher. Would Megan please bring Mr. Emerson to the stage?
Good evening, families, friends, and supporters of the Sibley Ocheyedan FFA. I am truly grateful and excited for this opportunity coming in my future. I'm looking forward to working with all of you, as well as your students. I look forward to meeting and working with all of you in the future, helping this program continue to grow and succeed. This was my podium. This was my third interview, and I felt pretty good about the first two, but they didn't work out. Then Sibley Ocheyedan came on the job board, and my neighbor, my freshman year of college, was from Sibley Ocheyedan High School. His name was Kevin Berkland. Going through that freshman year, he always spoke so highly of this school and the ag program. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I came up, went through the interview process, like, wow, talk about community support. When I was getting the tour from Mr. Town, I saw your kernel of corn fundraising thing. I'm like, what's that for? He's like, your salary. I'm like, what? So he told me about what you guys are doing, and everywhere you go they say they have the best community support. But I now know Sibley Ocheyedan High School has the best community support for their ag program. I'm excited to be here. And so driving home back to Ames that day, 3.5 hour drive, I just thought, you know, if this is where I'm supposed to be, I'm gonna get put here. And I knew I had an interview coming up Tuesday of spring break, which was the next week. So I'm like, oh man, what do I do? If they give me an offer before, do I cancel? Or do I just, you know, go interview? So Monday night of spring break, the day before the interview, Mr. Town called me. Of course, my phone's on silent, and I missed his call. So I, you know, listened to the message. So he's like, hello, Alex, this is Mr. Town. Go ahead and give me a call back at your convenience. So I missed him by 2 minutes. So I call him back. I'm worried. There's like, oh yeah, you have a job if you want it, or sorry, we found somebody else. So later I find out, after talking with him, he offered me the job. But he told me that if I wasn't ready to accept, go to the interview and let him know in a couple days. Well, I told him that night, I'm going to accept, but I'm still going to go on the interview tomorrow for a common courtesy. But later did I find out, after talking to my Iowa State advisors, it'd be better to cancel the interview. So I canceled, now I'm here. So there's a few people I'd like to thank. First off, my role models growing up, my parents, Kirk and Lisa, for all the support they've given me. Next, the community for making this possible, and the administration for allowing it to happen. And last but not least, you, the students, for wanting the second ag teacher and organizing this fundraising event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emerson. We're so excited for next year.
Good job, Mr. Emerson. We're excited to have you on board. Bill, if you want to hit the tunes. If the officers please come out on stage. Hit the first slide, please. Okay, the first one is for Mackenzie Walter. Mackenzie, it's been a fun year working with you. Since working with you as a freshman, you've always impressed me. Serving on the CDA teams, she went to WLC. It was a great time doing that. The gift I've got for you is something you probably don't ever want to see or use again. It's going to be a glue stick since you did such a great job on the scrapbook. But I got one more for you too, since you don't want to use the glue stick. I got you a spatula. Since you were always making food and serving it to us throughout the year, you truly are the definition of service. Great job and successful year. I guess I should probably start off with last year I kind of did candy. This year I thought I can't do candy again because Mom always told me you can't eat too much of it. Otherwise I get cavities. But this year I started thinking of a theme. And I might be from an OCD family, realizing that my brother and his wife have a theme for their children's names. So I thought I can't let them down. This year I'm going to have to go with office supplies. So that's why she got the glue stick. So continuing on with office supplies, a manly office, duct tape. Every office needs duct tape. Throughout this past year, you've had a heart of gold. You've been a guy who just clicks and sticks with everyone. You've been a great support for our chapter. You always kept us together as a team, and you always had those great comments to help us through difficult times. It's been great working with you. Thanks again. I'm using a different version of this program, I guess. I gotta thank Lori first, too. Just a little bit ago, we realized that my script was different than the script of the PowerPoint, so she quick ran to the computer lab and reprinted it. And then me, being Amish, I'm using the old version still. We got her down, I'm using a new one. Matt Richards, a guy who's always got a to-do list. Whenever you talk to him, he knows exactly what he needs to be doing, what he needs to do next, and he understands the importance of it. I'm going to give you a little memo pad. I don't know how you stay that organized, but you managed to do it. It's been impressive watching you through the year. You kept us on track. I asked for just a list of activities we can do during FFA week. He comes up with a 3-page typed document, numbered and everything. Truly phenomenal. And a coffee cup. Last year, when you had the study hall and you could have worked doing homework so you didn't have to after you got done working your long hours, you came down for discussions about life. Everything from faith, family, to the future. I look up to you so much. Great job and successful year. The next office supply for Renee and Miranda, the guy who's always smiling. No matter what possibly goes wrong, he's able to look past it. You've been a phenomenal person for whatever challenge we overcame this year. And I think about whiteout. No matter how big of a mistake I've made, I can always cover it up with whiteout and start again. Renee's been that person for our team. If something went wrong, he'd always say, it'll get better, don't worry. We can do it again. It wasn't that big of a mistake. So Renee, it's been great working with you. I appreciate the positivity, and I know you have a great future going forward. Thanks again, I'm great. Carson, I can always count on you for a good laugh. When you weren't able to get in the leadership class, it just wasn't as fun. It's been a great year working with you. While you weren't exactly the most transparent with us at times, we'd always take a few minutes so we could hear the real story. We often kind of dedicated the corner desk up on front by the podium for Carson to tell us like a weekly story. So, every good storyteller should have a clipboard to keep their notes on, and I figured you could definitely have multi-purposes with this, using it for coach or game plays if he ever breaks his or makes any other mistake like that. But it's been great. You've always provided us with excellent humor, hard work, and a positive attitude as well. Thanks again. For this next individual, Sarah Eggy. So frustrating. I had this great leadership activity planned, and I was going to teach them about the different 4 personalities. And Sarah got into the same group that I was in. And I wanted to demonstrate the importance of being very analytical, detailed, and action-oriented. But little did I know, Sarah also had the strength of flexibility. She was so accommodating, so flexible throughout the year. She kept us incredibly organized, but through it all, she was incredibly flexible. So I'm getting you a pack of rubber bands. The lesson actually worked out really, really well. I had to move Sarah to a different group so her other strengths could shine through. But you've always been incredibly flexible for us, willing to work hard, you've been organized, you hold the stuff together like a rubber band. It's been great working with you. So we got a calendar in this classroom that we make, and girls like to have them color-coded. Jacob was the guy who always had the perfect highlighter for him. And as a reporter, you highlighted on our stories throughout the year, whether it was the Gazette, the press, Facebook, anything else I threw to you. You always had the ability to shine through. When my to-do list was far too long and got way too color-coded with priorities and late-night activities, you were always willing to take stuff off my to-do list. I greatly appreciate everything that you've done for us. Best of luck next year. So, Marissa, I don't exactly have the gift for you because you've got way more style in class than I'll ever have. In fact, you were pretty nice not judging me too much wearing the suit that I bought when I was a junior in high school, like 10 years ago, or still wearing that coat I got in 8th grade from Mom and Dad. So, I wanted the perfect gift for you, but I want you to design it because I'd end up with some crazy design. Miss Marissa is going to college now at Emory University in Georgia. Throughout this past year, she was always the face that would go up and welcome new people. When we were at the John Deere Pavilion, she walked up and started introducing herself to people not just from not from our school, they happen to be from a different country. Now when you go somewhere else, you always leave a lasting impact. But I want you to use business cards going forward. So yes, this is my SDSU box of business cards I still use, but I'll get you money so you can go online and make a set of business cards that you can use going forward. So when you meet all those people in Georgia, they'll still remember you with contact information, after they remember smiling with you and sharing a great conversation. Maddie Loneman. What a great smile, what a great personality. You learned to handle stress really well working with me. The one thing I really remember about you is not only were you the secretary taking notes with these pens, but when times got tough, when, I don't know, I got way too stressed out, way too down, she was always the one that would send that really kind message. I don't know how many months ago it was you sent me that email. Never taken it out of my inbox, so when I'm here at like midnight, I can kind of remember why I'm actually here. That's for the students. Thanks for all the kind words going forward. I know your heart holds going to lots of people. And I appreciate all of the people out here that you wrote thank yous to throughout the year. You really do connect. Even if you feel as though those thank yous aren't as important as I do, they really do connect with the people here. I'm sure they've received them from you just as I have. Thank you. Okay, so Mystic, last year you got Fireball candies because you've got an internal passion, and I love the fact that you don't filter anything. She would be our litmus test for a new project. If she thought it would fail, she would tell us. Your office supply was a clear-cut choice for me, scissors. You cut through the politics, you cut through the other stuff. You pick the words that are just right to help us get through it. You also had a phenomenal impact with the blood drives that you started here. The video presentations that helped us get Mr. Emerson tonight. And your ability to help hold our team together, even when we had those little bit of divisions. You were the one who could cut through anything to see the benefit and the purpose. The organization will be greatly missed. Now for our president. Josh, it's been a fun time working with you. I think you were the one who led me to picking the concept of office supplies. Our team worked so incredibly hard this past year. Every one of them helped us do so much to serve this community, help build the chapter, get us to the point of Mr. Emerson. We needed a strong leader who could do it. When I created a little workshop for our chapter officer retreat, we took a ruler, because there were 12 of us on the team, and we cut it up into each inch. We had 12 different segments, 1 inch long. And I asked them to define what a ruler was. We got answers ranging from a dictator, a president, a measuring device, to any office supply you can imagine. Throughout the year, while Josh may have some people consider to be the number 1 position, Josh took the concept of a 12-inch ruler on our team and completely reorganized it. Sometimes he said inch number 3 is the best person to lead this project. Sometimes it might be inch number 11. And I didn't buy you just a ruler, because you got big goals, and what would you do with only a 12-inch measuring device? You've looked at every accomplishment or task our chapter could do, and you pushed it to every limit possible. I'm giving you a 25-foot tape measure, because honestly, you've pushed us far more than just 12 inches of growth. In fact, you probably could have pushed us even further. I could have got you a bigger tape measure, what I meant to say, but those were out of the budget. So, and you're going to be moving into a small dorm room at SDSU. It's probably 10 feet by 6 feet. So what are you going to do with more than 25 feet of tape? But honestly, thank you so much. Our team was incredibly successful as a group. And I think everyone up here greatly connected with not only the community, and the chapter. Your humility allowed us to have 11 presidents this past year on countless projects. It's been a pleasure working with you. I'm glad to hear you're going to be Jack Rabbit. Let's give them one last round of applause. I now call forward Marissa for our thank you to Lori Kreinbrink.
There's one person in the FFA chapter that means a lot to us chapter members as well as Mr. Gallo. That person is our FFA mom, Lori Kreinbrink. Through this past year, the FFA chapter has been through a lot, but Lori's been through more. As many of you may know, Mr. Kreinbrink was diagnosed with cancer just before National Convention. We were all in shock. When you had to miss school to take Mike to treatments, I noticed something. We were missing an important part of our family. Our mom. It wasn't the same not having you in the back room, Lori. When I would walk in the back room to ask you a question I knew you would know the answer to, I was disappointed that you weren't there, but that's when I realized it was freezing. So, Lori, we want you to know that we appreciate all you do, and our gift to you, although it will never compensate for what you've done for us, is a space heater. We wish you the best luck in the future, and you will always be the second mom to all of us.
Ryan Gallo, can you please come out on stage? Gallo, since you know how you hate spending money on yourself or spending money in general, this year we decided to do something a little different. Make a budget cuts. No, I'm just kidding. We're still getting your gift, don't worry. But for the past year, you have helped this office team grow into a family. From officer retreat with your parents to our early morning breakfasts in the ag room, you have been a shining example of being humble, being motivated to grow, determined to get the task done at hand, and of course, lead this chapter to new heights that no other chapter has ever seen. With that, with all that has been accomplished in the past 2 years, we all know that you are the best advisor you could possibly ask for. When we were sad, you brought us up. When we were discouraged, you motivated us. When we were lost, you corrected us. When we were unsure, you guided us. Mr. Gallo, I speak on behalf of the whole officer team when I say this. We were honored to work beside you this year. With that being said, I'd like to present you with this picture frame. In the writing, it reads, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in humility, that comes from wisdom." James University. Thank you, God, for being the best.
This year, we changed the officer election process from previous elections by members to an officer interview process. This was something we thought would benefit our chapter in the long run. We thought that selecting an officer team based on hard work and dedication would help the chapter transition into a 2-teacher ag program. Every applicant had an equal opportunity to be selected for chapter office, and ensured that the elections would not be a popularity contest among the members. Each sophomore and junior interested in chapter office was required to fill out an application made by the senior officers. The application included questions that were asked during the interview process. The interviews were held in the egg room, and the members were kept in the computer lab until it was their turn. The senior committee and the Worthington FFA advisor sat in on the interviews. We used another FFA advisor because their chapter had used an interview process before, and so Mr. Gottlieb, would not have any input on the new officer team. The new election process was an idea thought of by the members to ensure the chapter would have strong roots during the addition of a second acting chair. I will now turn it over to Josh to announce the new officers for the 2015-2016 year.
Thanks, Matt. It's my pleasure to introduce the new officers for the 2015-2016 school year. But first, Dalton, you hit the music. Your officers at large, please help me introduce Daniel DeBoer and Jacob Schultz. Your chapter historian, Ryan Vickery. Our new office is parliamentarian. Election of that is Jill Birkland. Your sentinel for the 2015-2016 year, Matt Nag. Your chapter's treasurer, Thomas Zelstra. Our first reporter is Jocelyn Tapia. Our other reporter is Sarah Egging. Chapter secretary is Mackenzie Walter. Chapter vice president for the 2015-2016 year is Megan Block. Your chapter president for the 2015-2016 year, Colby Wagner. Don't kill music. Alright, first off, I'd like to remind new officers that the position that you're elected to tonight should not define how hard you work as an officer. This may be a very exciting time for each of you. I would like to remind you that the work starts now. You will be pushed to your limits, but if you stay true to the advice of Mr. Gottlieb, I will promise you you'll have the best experience of your life. Thank you, officers, and good luck. As I reflect on the past year, I am filled with pride being able to work with such an amazing FFA chapter. This has been such a humbling experience. To see people from all sorts of life come together with a common purpose is awesome to see and experience. This year, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, accomplished. With that being said, there are a few people I would like to thank. I would like to thank Carl Borman, Wade Elbrook, and everyone else that was on the governing board for leading the way to getting this chapter a much-needed second banquet. Mr. Emerson will be a great addition to the FFA program, as he will lead this chapter to greater things and new adventures. I would like to thank Ms. Crimey. You made things run so smoothly for everyone in Niagara. From reviewing the itineraries to preparing for the banquet. I know I speak for everyone, even the members, my fellow officers, and God, when I say we appreciate everything you do for us. It has been a pleasure working with you. Next, I'd like to give a shout out to my officer team. From our officer bondings to working late in the ag room, each and every one of you has helped tremendously in making this program excel. You all have special talents. I wish all of you the best of luck in the future, wherever that may lead. It's been an honor to work hand in hand with the greatest chapter officers this chapter has ever seen. Now, I'd like to thank someone who has gone above and beyond boundaries and requirements. Mr. Goff, every day you somehow amaze me by your new ideas and your relentless work ethic. I do not know of any other teacher that has ever put in the amount of work and time that you have. You're dedicated to the growth of this chapter, as well as the growth of everyone in this chapter. You've always been there for me and the officers whenever we were in need. Mr. Gottlieb, it has been my privilege to work with you. Today, I step down from my position as 2014-2015 president of Sudoji FFA. I wish the best of luck to Colby and the next year's officers. They're a great group of people, and I'm confident they'll keep this chapter going down the right path. I have no worries that this chapter will continue to grow and succeed. I now call forward our 2015-2016 President and Secretary for closing ceremonies.
Madam Secretary, do you have any record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should probably come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Sibley-Ochene FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of play. Fellow members and guests, join me in this salute to our flag.